Thank you, Chairman, Honorable Mayors and Commissioners, those advocates for the farm. Thank you. I have actual graduates from the Salt Lake Farm with me today and the future farmers of America. Thank you for being here. We're going to talk about how farming relaunches people's lives. I've experienced that, and I want to share with you what I propose that we unitedly claim $1.4 million made available by the state of Utah as of the 27th of February, and we have 30 days to respond. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. Farmer Karl, I am the Mr. Rogers of farming in every aspect because I'm from Pennsylvania. And I visited his hometown, and I'm an advocate for neighbors. In fact, the neighbors that I'm advocating for are those facing homelessness or experiencing homelessness on the streets. I've graduated from 33 years in the corporate world, international experience in Germany, and I have worked in the city of Philadelphia with children ages 10 to 13 using farming and gardening to help them relaunch their lives. That's my sweet wife over there, who's my backbone. Next slide. So I want to talk to you about statistics. The statistics of Weber County with regard to homelessness. Now, this is the housing success rate, which is the inverse of recidivism for homelessness. In other words, the higher the number, the better. And if you see Weber County, we are 6 points below the Salt Lake County and 9 points below the average of Utah in terms of housing success rate. Now, I took this to the local homeless council, and they said that we don't have enough money. That if we had more money, we wouldn't have this problem. But I think it goes even deeper than that. I think we have good containment systems. I think we supply basic needs. But I think where we lack is, and all three must be present, but we lack empowering people to relaunch their lives. So next slide, I have a solution. We have $1.4 million. If we take the population of Weber County as 9.8% of Utah, and there's 14 million out there to grab, we have 1.4 million that if we unitedly, as mayors and commissioners, go after, we'll be able to have Utah say, there's a county that's committed to change their statistics. Okay, are you in? Next slide. So I want to talk to you about what Eden Streets is. Eden Streets is at two levels. It's an association of farmers with social missions around the world. We define a new profession for farmers so that they can actually use farming to help relaunch people's lives and provide food to food desert areas. We develop a body of knowledge and we educate our members. Our vision is that farms everywhere that cultivate vibrant, connected communities. And how we do that is we empower communities, like this community in this room, to grow food, jobs, connections, and hope through farming. At the city level, I've been working with Mayor Caldwell and Mark Johnson on a lease of land directly east of the Lantern House to establish a farm that would transitionally employ those facing homelessness. And so I'm going to share how this works at the city level. Next slide. Why is farming so powerful? I think it has to do with the human-centric approach of farming. It reaches all four dimensions of the human. It reaches the physical dimension. As these trainees come to the farm every day, they are active, working 6 hours a day, and they eat the food that they're growing. Something clicks inside and they're saying, I'm happier. And then they're working with other individuals who are also in the same situation. They start forming what we call the family. And this is a bond of people that are supporting each other well beyond the farm. You can see that here with our 2 attendees from Salt Lake. Mental. As we work with nature, we understand the realities of life cycles, of the need to plant at certain times. Those things inform us about life. Spiritual, there's a sense of inspiration and transcendence that comes. All 4 dimensions are addressed as we plant together on the farm. Next slide. And so, is this just the first farm? No, there's 150 farms across the country that are doing this work. And I want Ogden to be a part of that. The Homeless Garden Project has been operating in Santa Cruz, California for 30 years and graduating 17 people per year that are now moving into jobs and homes. These other proven models are in Missoula, Montana, Vancouver, British Columbia, and Salt Lake City, Utah, with the Green Phoenix Farm and Wasatch Community Gardens. Next slide. So, at the city level, what do? We're finding and building community partnerships like you see in this room. We're facilitating contracts for land leases. We're raising funds. We're building and operating these farms. And then we share best practices around the world. How do we make these farms work for the people that we're employing? And finally, we incubate them until they become large enough and stable enough to become their own nonprofits. Next slide. So, the big why. I'm here because I was a part of this transformation. For 1,700 hours as an AmeriCorps assistant farmer 6 blocks west of downtown Salt Lake City, I worked with these women who inspired me to give the rest of my life to this work. These women have overcome incredible odds. They are my heroes, and I'm here to commit to these outcomes for Ogden and Weber County. We find jobs, they're connected, they have food, they know how to grow their own food, and they have hope. Next slide. So just in this one case study, and you don't have to read my 51-page report, but if you do, it's up there. $300,000 a year on 1.4 acres, we had these outcomes. 9 women were employed during the year, stably housed, 88% of those 9 women. Transitioned to employment that they chose for their life, 78%. We produced $111,000 worth of produce, $60,000 in food, $40,000 in seedlings, and $10,000 in seeds that we sold back to the Snake River Cooperative. We engaged volunteers, and we made an abandoned lot that the city was just paying to mow every once in a while into a wildlife habitat and an environmental education center. Next. So, for every dollar spent on the farm, $1.72 comes back to the community. It comes back in the form of the $32,000 per homeless individual that the state of Utah invests in direct funding to take care of this issue. That is then no longer being the taxpayers. That is now a wage earner that's out now employed, connecting with their families. The produce itself goes to those who don't have access to produce normally. The city taxes, the police demands, and the ambulance rides to the emergency room are reduced. That's how we get to $1.72. Next slide. And so the location is so ideal. We looked at 19 sites, and we boiled it down, and we met with Mark Johnson and his directors on the 28th of June last year, and we said, right next to the Lantern House, there's 2 acres beautiful, designed, and a perfect complement to the Lantern House and what they can offer. Now, there's a resource center that the city of Ogden is designing right now, right next to it, which has computer facilities, access to medical and psychiatric help. This then becomes an oasis, a complex, and a park-like setting that will improve the whole neighborhood. Next. So I talked to you about the acreage, and there's 2 farm staff that know how to do this. The volunteers certainly help, but basically what we can offer now for minimum viable product is 10 hours per week. We're paying these those facing homelessness trainees, we call them, $10 an hour, and we give them a life skill development program called Nourish, and we have an advocate that helps them resolve every barrier to their employment. Next. So, what does the funding look like? How much is this going to cost? We boiled it down into the minimum viable farm. And on the left, you see $48,000 is the operating cost to keep those 2 direct farm director and the program director employed for 10 hours a week. Okay, we boil it down, and 29 is the capital investment for year 1. The city of Ogden requires that we raise 2 years minimum of funding. So the target is $125,000. Next slide. And so, are we starting from ground zero? No. The Bank of Utah has chosen to become our fiduciary agent. We have distribution of food through Catholic Community Services and the Salvation Army. Walmart, Key Bank have given us grants. The United Way stands behind us. So what I'm asking is that you join these sponsors, these partners, to make this a reality. Next slide. I'd like to introduce to you my wonderful friend, Shannon Russell. Would you come up? Shannon is a concierge at the downtown Salt Lake City Marriott Hotel, and she's going to tell a little bit about how the farm experience impacted her life.
When I came to Utah 4 years ago, I was at the YWCA. Had no clue how to get around, where to go. I got lost every time I walked out the door. And my friend took me to the farm, to the Green Phoenix farm, and I met James, and I had an interview, and I got hired on the spot. And to be able to get up every day and go to work and get a schedule going, you know, so you're in a routine and you're not falling backwards, you know, you try to go forward. And so it's an amazing thing to be able to go out and harvest your own food and then go in the kitchen and cook it for the team that's there that, you know, every day. It's an amazing thing, and it's done wonders for not just myself, and then the follow-ups, you know, with the people that help, because every year it gets better and better. They've got somebody, you know, that'll help you with housing, or, you know, if you need help with your resume, things like that. So just an amazing program.
Thank you. She's made me laugh more than cry, so she's hilarious. Anyway, Lynette, if I could just have you stand. Lynette operates the farm right now. She's a grow lead, and she's been with the farm now 6 years?
5 years.
5 years. And she knows what it can do for your life.
It's empowering. It's magical. It's changed my life and my family's lives. We were homeless at the shelter for 5 years before I got my housing and a permanent job through the farm. And it's just, I can't say enough, honestly.
Blessing in disguise.
It's a blessing in disguise.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, to conclude, next slide. We can do this. We can do this because we're unified. That's what I'm asking you in this room, to stand behind this effort. Let's organize a Grow Ogden Grant Committee. We only have, how many days? 23 days before this grant is due. I can do the legwork, but I need a piece of paper signed by each of the mayors that count for at least 80% of this county, to say, we're on board. We want to do this for our people. I'd like you to sign the Grow Ogden Commitment Declaration, and also in front of you at your chair is a position statement so that you can fill it out and say, where am I at in terms of advocating for the farm? What information do I still need? What concerns do I have? And what resources could I offer? Next slide. This is how the committee would be formed, and what I'm asking is for you to appoint a delegate so that I could have a Zoom meeting with them for half an hour once a week for these 2 or 3 weeks that we have left to meet. We picked these mayors because that represents the 80% of the population of the county, and we picked these nonprofit organizations because they're an integral part of our success. Next slide. Thank you for being a proud sponsor of Grow Ogden. We believe this is an innovative, effective, and broad-based approach. Let's claim our share of the $1.4 million should be available to us. Next slide. Again, so Chairman, I can turn the time over to you. This is the community impact. You should have that in your packets. Any questions at this point about what I'm asking?
So the one paper is for all of us, just how advocacy, what questions you have. And then I have the paper that is for those, what was it, 8 cities? And so I have signed it, Mayor Dandoy signed it.
Thank you, Mayor Dandoy.
So essentially, we're just supporting this idea.
Supported the request for the idea.
It's a win-win.
And also for these in the next couple weeks, trying to get the $1 million. So what Karl wants to do is, he'll work on all the proposals, just run it by the group and what changes we make. This has got the waste good over us, and so, yeah, this is a neat program. I'm real excited about it.
Just last slide. Again, I want to thank you for your attention. This is my contact information. I'm the Mr. Rogers of farming. I'm for our neighbors. Let's be fellow neighbors and lift those who are currently without a house. Thank you for your attention.